At 7:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning, just hours after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney introduced the Canada First Economic Framework, which places European and Asian competitors ahead of U.S. companies. And as U.S. financial markets prepared to open following the announcement of a $2 trillion Democratic Capital Markets Alliance divestment, President Trump held an unscheduled press conference in the White House Rose Garden. During that appearance, he delivered a warning that quickly spread across the global sports community and triggered immediate international reaction. Speaking for just under 4 minutes without prepared remarks, Trump stated that the United States is seriously considering withdrawing as co-host of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is scheduled to take place across the United States, Canada, and Mexico in just over 3 months. With the tournament set to begin in June, he said that Canada's recent actions have significantly harmed U.S. economic interests and questioned the viability of continuing a joint hosting arrangement under those conditions. He added that all options are being considered, including stepping away from the tournament entirely, suggesting that Canada and Mexico could attempt to host it on their own without U.S. venues, infrastructure, or audience support. This statement effectively raised the possibility of the United States withdrawing from one of the largest sporting events in the world, an event expected to reach billions of viewers globally and generate substantial economic activity for the host nations. Within minutes of these remarks, FIFA issued a response, followed shortly by a statement from Carney in Ottawa. Soon after, members of the international sports community, political leaders, and U.S. city officials involved in hosting matches began expressing strong opposition to the idea, emphasizing that the tournament is a global event that extends beyond political disagreements. In this breakdown, I will explain what this potential withdrawal could mean from both a legal and practical perspective, outline FIFA's response and its position on the limits of U.S. government authority in this matter, review Carney's reaction and how it reframes the situation, examine why U.S. local leaders and organizations are indicating they intend to proceed with hosting responsibilities, and present three possible scenarios that could unfold if a U.S. president attempts to halt participation in an event that the country has spent years preparing to host. Subscribe to stay informed and share this video if you find it useful. To understand the situation, it is important to look at how the 2026 FIFA World Cup hosting structure is organized, because that framework explains why a unilateral cancellation is not straightforward. The 2026 tournament will be the first to feature 48 teams, expanded from the previous 32-team format, and will include 104 matches across 16 stadiums in 3 countries. The United States is scheduled to host 78 matches across 11 stadiums in cities such as New York, New Jersey, Los Angeles, Dallas, Atlanta, Miami, Philadelphia, Boston, Seattle, Kansas City, Houston, and the San Francisco Bay Area. Canada is set to host 13 matches in Toronto and Vancouver, while Mexico will host 13 matches in Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. This arrangement is based on a binding agreement signed in 2018 between FIFA and the national soccer federations of the 3 countries after their joint bid was selected. The agreement outlines host cities, stadium assignments, infrastructure plans, and financial commitments. Importantly, the United States Soccer Federation, not the federal government, signed on behalf of the U.S. However, the agreement also depends on government cooperation for areas such as visas, security, and transportation. This raises a key question. Does a U.S. president have the authority to cancel participation? Legal analysts suggest the answer is complex. While the Federation manages participation, the federal government could make implementation difficult by limiting cooperation in essential areas. In that sense, even without formal authority to cancel, federal actions could affect how or whether matches proceed in U.S. locations. FIFA responded quickly to the situation. At 8:15 a.m., FIFA President Gianni Infantino addressed the issue from Zurich, stating that the World Cup is not controlled by any single government and belongs to the global community of players, fans, and organizers. He emphasized that FIFA's agreements are with national soccer federations, not governments, and that the organization is committed to ensuring the tournament proceeds as planned. He also noted that if obstacles arise in one country, FIFA has the ability to work with local authorities, partner organizations, and other host nations to maintain the schedule. The statement made it clear that the tournament is expected to move forward regardless of political developments and called for cooperation to avoid disruption. Shortly afterward, U.S. Soccer Federation President Cindy Parlow Cone reaffirmed that the organization remains committed to the hosting agreement and is continuing preparations with FIFA, local governments, and other stakeholders. She clarified that the Federation's position is to proceed with hosting responsibilities and ensure the tournament's success. Around the same time, Carney addressed the situation from Ottawa, stating that the World Cup is an international event that should remain separate from political disputes. He confirmed that Canada is fully prepared to host its scheduled matches and indicated readiness to support adjustments if necessary in coordination with FIFA and Mexico. He also addressed U.S. audiences directly, noting the extensive preparation already completed by American host cities and encouraging continued support for the event at the local level. By mid-morning, mayors from the 11 U.S. host cities held a joint press conference, expressing their intention to move forward with hosting plans. They emphasized the investments already made in infrastructure and planning and stated their commitment to working with FIFA, state authorities, and partners to ensure matches take place as scheduled. Statements from Los Angeles, New York City, and other host locations reflected a consistent message that preparations would continue. At the state level, California officials also indicated readiness to provide resources necessary to support matches within their jurisdiction. Additional responses followed throughout the day. Organizations and sponsors highlighted the importance of maintaining stability around the event, noting the significant financial and logistical commitments involved. International leaders also commented, generally emphasizing that global sporting events function best when cooperation and existing agreements are respected. Later, President Trump addressed the reactions, indicating that no final decision had been made and that options remain under consideration. Legal experts continued to analyze the situation, pointing out that while a president may not directly cancel a hosting agreement, federal involvement in visas, security, and logistics plays an important role. At the same time, they noted that coordination between FIFA, local governments, and other partners could potentially reduce the impact of federal non-cooperation. Public opinion data released later in the day suggested that a large majority of Americans support proceeding with the tournament as planned, including many across different political perspectives. Looking ahead, three main scenarios are being discussed. In the first, the situation stabilizes, and the United States continues its hosting role as originally planned. In the second, limited federal involvement creates logistical challenges, but local and international coordination allows the tournament to proceed with minor adjustments. In the third scenario, more significant obstacles lead to partial relocation of matches to other host countries, while some events continue in U.S. cities. Each scenario depends on how the situation develops in the coming weeks and the level of coordination between stakeholders. For now, attention remains on upcoming statements, potential contingency planning by FIFA, and responses from participating teams. What is clear is that the World Cup remains on track as a global event involving multiple countries and organizations, and its final structure will depend on how these discussions evolve.